And this is why the whole legacy media, the whole pharmaceutical, industrial, military complex, they've been very sophisticated in how they talk about these things to get people wrapped up in their mind and away from just logic and common sense. Of course, if you eat clean foods, clean meaning no pesticides, clean meaning grown and harvested from the earth, not synthetically in a lab, of course the body's going to benefit. And most people know that, but it's one of these things, it has to keep getting reiterated over and over again because the propaganda has been so thick and so strong. And we've given our power away to people who know better than us. Trust the doctor, trust the scientist. They have this degree. Yeah, they might, but what if most of that stuff has been based on lies or manipulated science? Then all that goes out the window.
Let's make America healthy again on this part 2 of our What the Health episode that aired back in 23 with none other than Lance Schuttler of Ascent Nutrition. If you have ever experienced the holistic versus modern medicine conversation where you know certain holistic treatments, adaptogens, or herbs can cure a family member or friend of an illness but have been called crazy or receive pushback from the rest of the family who aren't educated or willing to educate themselves, then yeah, this episode is for you. Be sure to share both of the What the Health episodes as the lies of our big pharma healthcare system are revealed and justice is served. In fact, invite everyone you think would benefit from healing themselves to rate this show on Apple or Spotify. Facing your shit and healing yourself is more than just this podcast. It is a movement. You can support the movement with a one-off donation or become a member for as low as $5 a month and receive exclusive art, be featured on the show, submit questions for guests, and more. So who am I and why did I decide to create this show? Well, after unraveling all the lies I had been told about my endometriosis, I educated myself and I healed myself after almost 20 years of debilitating pain. My experience inspired me to actually live my art. So I created an ongoing art series about it called Every Phase, where I create pieces that illustrate how I healed myself as I live by the phases of the female hormonal cycle. Just look for the Every Phase vlog episodes on the podcast as an animated mini-series. The artwork shows what's happening in the brain and the body during each phase and reveals how to biohack and leverage this energy in your life. I am actually living the art, so it's about way more than just healing. The writing and the art discuss truth, freedom, our current financial and healthcare system slavery, as well as the way out of it. You can learn more by subscribing on my Substack or visiting anothereffingartist.com. So all of that to say, even though I was lied to for years by doctors promoting big pharma, I was able to find experts who helped me achieve what I thought was impossible. This show introduces them to you. Today, we are chatting with the owner and CEO of Ascent Nutrition, Lance Schuttler. His passion for research, brain health, neurogenesis, nutrition, and biohacking led him to begin Ascent Nutrition, a health and wellness company with a mission of offering deeply transformative and helpful nutrients to as many people as possible and to help bring about a great collective shift in human consciousness and health. Having graduated from the University of Iowa with a degree in health science, Lance brings deep experience with the health and wellness fields, as well as a rounded perspective of the nutraceutical industry. He has worked in the 3 major areas of this industry and saw many inefficiencies and shortcuts that were and still are being taken by many in this field. Lance is a contributing health and wellness writer at the Epoch Times, and his work also includes the topics of regenerative agriculture, resource-based economies, and quantum technologies. It's our time in the natural holistic health world, and I was looking back at our conversation last time and just, talking about the Lancet, talking about, remember when natural immunity was considered a conspiracy theory? I mean, this is last time I had you on, it was 2023. A lot has happened since then. And yeah, we're right on the precipice. You have your thumb on the pulse of so much in this world. What are your thoughts on what the hell is going on, when we're actually going to see some justice, maybe?
Well, I think
Mm.
partly it's been done privately. We've talked about this behind the scenes with some
Yeah.
of the more darker figures, some of the darkest ones. I
Yeah.
think they already got caught a long time ago, but I think the public justice is coming definitely this year. And I would think sooner
Yeah.
rather than later in the coming few months. Diddy's trial is set to take place in May. I think things are lining up where all the stuff relating to the kids and the pizza and all that's going to be coming out even more. I think it just everything's coinciding with that timeline of we're starting to see more of the corrupt political stuff come out right now. Doge is uncovering so much fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah.
And I think it's just setting the stage for some of the heavier things. And it's all necessary. When people really comprehend that our quote unquote government has literally been stealing our money to fund all sorts of crazy things, including mass murder,
Hmm.
it's it's a tough pill to swallow, but we need to see it for what it is for sure, because that's the only way we can actually move forward. People are still hung up on small little things. Wait till the real stuff starts coming out. That's exciting for me because we've all definitely had crimes committed against all of us in different ways. And even if someone doesn't fully see it, they deep down want justice too for all this stuff. It's the terrible things, not small stuff, not people's feelings getting hurt, not people not being able to take criticism or look at their own stuff. You know, and I'm speaking for myself and to myself on this as well. We've all
Of
been
course.
subjected to all these different experiments and crimes against humanity that have been committed against us, all of us. Has
Yeah.
nothing to do with countries, politics, color of skin, race, gender, none of it. As you know, this has been literally an assault against all of humanity
Mm.
to take control of the entire world. And years ago, people would think that's an insane statement. More and more people today realize that is the very simple truth, and it always has been.
It always has been. And we've always been the ones in power. We've always been the ones that have had the power, and there's so many more of us than there are them. And like when you just said that about how many how much we're paying, how much we're giving away, how we're subsidizing essentially our own abuse. We're paying for our own abuse. We're paying criminals essentially to abuse us. I saw something the other day where it's like for the amount of money, and this was just the amount of money we've given away. The amount of money we've given away could absolve every American of their debt. Everyone could pay off their house and leave everyone with a couple 100,000 or like $1,000,000 in the bank for the amount that we have given away. So if that is not some kind of like alarm system in people's heads of, well, wait a second, how can we give away money we don't actually have? Think about that. And it's the same thing with health. Anytime you go around the root cause, you're accruing that debt, right? It's like you're going to deal with it at a later time. No matter how long we want to push this really looking at the truth process, whether it be with the children, whether it be with looking at what happened in 2020 as a complete scam, all of those things, the further we push it, push really looking at what those things are, the more debt we're going to accrue and the harder it's going to be. Suffering really is optional in this whole process. So, what's your advice in people just starting to like wake up to this? They're seeing what's happening. Maybe they totally believed that their doctors knew best, right? The doctors that got paid for just lying to them, essentially. That whole world of people that are realizing that the people in white coats that they've looked up to and have trusted with their health for so many years are drug dealers. that whole world, that identity falling apart, what would you say to people just now really seeing the truth?
I'd say to keep searching for the truth themselves and to take back their own power. And of course, you could view it from different angles, whether, there's some sort of divine play taking place, God's in control of everything. There's determinism, fate, like we don't have free will choice. But there's all sorts of different concepts and ideas. Really, whatever anyone wants to believe, that's up to them. I think on this physical level here on this earth, taking responsibility or as much responsibility as you can for things
Mhm,
that happen in your life. And again, I'm saying this to myself as well. I've definitely in the past given my power away, but I've learned from that and learned that no one is really going to come and quote unquote save you and take all your pains and troubles away. That's an internal job. Yes, we've got friends and family and all sorts of help around us and definitely benefited from all of that for sure. And at the end of the day, we go to sleep and it's our life. Part of taking our power back and reclaiming responsibility and taking responsibility for things in our life is seeking out more information, different thoughts, different views, things that are taking place right now on a practical level. The mainstream media or the legacy media, now as they will be called henceforth, because they're in the past, they're way behind the times and they always have been, really. And obviously, a lot of that's been intentional. The legacy media cannot keep up with what's happening right now. We're recording this in early February, and just a day ago, Elon, whether you love him or hate him, is not the point. He put out a poll on X saying, should Doge audit the IRS next? And the overwhelming majority is yes. And people are fighting back against Doge. They're cleaning up things, they're auditing, bringing out all the dirtiest little secrets.
mhm,
USAID is now getting fully shown for what it was, which is fantastic. Someone made an analogy saying you find the biggest, baddest bully on the playground and you go and if they've been causing trouble and hurting people, you go and punch them right in the nose and set things straight from the very beginning. And that's metaphorically what's happened with USAID and Doge, that getting exposed. That's been one of the largest, if not the largest organized criminal mafia organization out there that's been inflicting so much damage and pain and all sorts of things on humanity. So where I'm going with this is that X, and I'm not even saying this for anything political or not even like pro or against Elon, has
mhm,
nothing to do with him. It's really just the fact that X as a platform, we know right now is the number one news source, the number one downloaded app, and the number one app for news all around the world in 140 plus countries. The legacy media cannot keep up with all the stuff coming out, especially right now, which is fantastic. And so the point being, tying this back, someone's wanting to learn more, follow accounts on X that you either agree with or maybe not totally agree with, or just seeing different perspectives. I do that myself because it's good to see even people that you really strongly do not agree with. It's good to see what people are saying so you can truly get a whole balanced perspective on the different sides. Because if we don't hear people out, if we don't talk, if we don't communicate, don't listen, then how can we actually come to resolving things? So X, I think, is a fantastic place. All different social medias serve different purposes, but the point of news, why I'm saying X, is because it's in real time. So staying up to date, getting new perspectives, perspectives that you agree with, perspectives that you don't agree with. It's a great place to do that and to stay up to date really with what's happening because things are going to keep pouring out now, especially since USAID has now been revealed for what it was.
mhm.
Everything is now going to start pouring out.
Yeah. It's the first time. ever we are seeing the government talk about Monsanto's, talk about GMOs, talk about these things like, you know, that we've been called hippie, crazy herbalist people for 30 years, 20 years. This is it's been out. This information has been out. And so while I'm hell yeah, make America healthy again. I'm all about that. I'm also like, where the hell was this for the past 20 years? Yay. I'm glad we have a really nice marketing campaign to go along with it. But I mean, it's better late than never, right? Like, holy shit, there are a lot of things worse than death. And living in this world, knowing the lies and having to participate in the lies, not only lies of health, the lies of money, the lies of what's really happening with missing people. Let's just say that the lies of this matrix. And as you know, there's been a huge split in the health community. Where do you think this whole split, where we know where it's at right now, where do you think it's going? How can we navigate this moving forward with making America healthy again? It's definitely something I support, but you're seeing, all of these truths, and it's even for people that, thought they knew. Where do you think all of this is going?
I think it's all going to a really great place. I definitely believe in humanity. I believe in the goodness of life. I believe in rationality and common sense. I believe that definitely all of us, again, have been subjected to various amounts and forms of propaganda and truly brainwashing. All of us, all of us are on our own different journeys. We see things different ways. We've learned different things. We've heard different things. So we're all going to the same place, but it just, when is that going to happen, and how? But I think in general, it's going to be a big convergence of, from a political perspective, there's the quote unquote left and right. I don't ascribe to either side of it because it's all just a game, as you know, to just split us apart. But I think that the people who are aware that we need to bring back common sense and rational thinking and not this hysteria and the brainwashing that's been inflicted upon us, that's all absolving and it's getting melted away day by day. Different timelines for all of us in different ways. We're all waking up in our own ways to different things. And I see that we really are going to have a unification of humanity. This is already happening. We're seeing it in all sorts of beautiful ways already. Definitely infighting. There's definitely fighting back and forth for sure. I'm
Mhm.
not naive to that, but definitely the fact that we're here and not where we could be already shows you that goodness wins, God wins, light and truth wins. And it's all just taking place in God's time, divine timing, whatever you want to call it. And I see very good things happening. I think that where we're at now is the Band-Aid has been ripped off. It's been getting slowly ripped off over the
Yeah.
past 4 years, 8 years. Now it's been completely ripped off, and we're seeing the freak outs of that pain and that blinding light, so to speak. Wow, we can see
Mhm.
the truth right in front of our eyes. They're literally showing us, and people are fighting against it. That's okay. They have the right
Mhm.
to do that. But if you want to keep supporting people who are inflicting genocide on humanity, that's
Yeah.
a person's choice. Where I see it going is definitely a mass awakening and some big event taking place that brings people back to the heart of what really matters, what's true and real, and letting go of the things that we've held on to. I think definitely the big catalyst for that is certainly going to be all the missing kids and all the missing humans. Without going deep into it, we already know. I mean, it's common knowledge now. Human trafficking is real, extremely real, and they target kids and they do it in broad daylight.
Yep.
And those people are getting caught. I think the worst of them already have. And now we're just seeing it play out more publicly, which is incredible. And all of those people who have been victims of that crime definitely deserve justice publicly. And It needs to take place in a way that's undeniable so people are forced to wake up, because
Yeah.
if people aren't seeing what's going on by now, I think the only thing really left, I mean, there's gonna be smaller events and bigger events leading up to it, but definitely the kids and the trafficking with that and what they've done to humans. It's, as you know, worse than just trafficking and worse than just using someone as a sex slave, far worse than that. And when that stuff comes out in an undeniable way, that I think is going to be the shocker that really snaps and jolts people awake. Like, wow, okay, now it all makes sense. This has been their currency. This has been their literal lifeblood to keep this whole bribery, blackmail, scam system all going, all of it. Science, medicine, politics, finance, everything.
Yeah. It's how, as they say, "Loosh is the commodity of the universe," whether it be through abuse and trauma like this with what's happening with the kids, or whether it be our attention, our energy, our worry. It's all just driving this like huge loose machine. That's what they feed off of. And with all of this coming out, and we talked about this too, it's like, where's the outrage? Because when you, and I understand why there's, kind of like this slow drip, it allows people to keep the blinders on when it's so slow. It allows there to be, like, 2 realities happening, and there's really 2 realities happening right now. There's what you're saying, there's, like, people are looking at what's actually coming out and what it actually says, and then there's this whole other world of, like, "Oh, that never happened. That's like pizza. Oh, that's conspiracy theory. Oh, Joe Rogan, aliens." Like, it's, "Oh, I'm just gonna back away here and look at CNN and all of these long-standing legacy," as you say, media outlets. It's still there. And so it's like the lies are happening at the same time as the truth. And it's gonna be really interesting to see how this, like, how it narrows down. And speaking of that, I wanna bring up this push for AI, right, in health, because this is a perfect example. I have my own thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this as far as, like, this push for AI, the mRNA? We know the whole jazz with that, and I know what's going on, but I'd love for you to share what you think.
So the information coming out on that, and I think you're in general kind of asking about the vaxes with it and Trump bringing that out into the spotlight. I think they're doing what they told us they were going to do, meaning the intelligence operation telling us exactly what they're going to do. They're going to put people in the spotlight, shine the light on them. Optics is everything. And I don't believe that Trump is in support of that at all. I think he's bringing it up so that people are talking about it and we can have debate on both sides, and that the truth ultimately comes out. And some people wanted to use that for really dark purposes. And I think
Mm,
it's tying into some of the, chat GPT slash open AI type
mhm.
stuff. All of that I think is going to come out on what the real agenda behind some of those programs have been. And I think it's just a necessary step for us to see, okay, what don't we want to have happen? And where do we actually want to take things with AI? Because it is so powerful that, I mean, Elon and many others, and again, I'm not even pro or against him. I'm just bringing up information. He's one of the most famous people and well-known people and listened to, and people are watching and paying attention to what he's saying right now. So he said, people don't understand truly the threat of AI, of what it could be if we don't use it responsibly. So this is like sci-fi type stuff turned reality.
Mhm.
And it is something where I think all of that is just coming out so that we can debate, look at it, and ultimately just shine more light on whatever the truth really is.
And there's so much there with AI. And to just talk about Elon for a second, I am not advocating for Elon Musk either, not for or against. I mean, dude, the dude has what, 6 children, 12 children by 4 different mothers or something. There's a lot going on there. But just speaking about what he's doing, if we don't actually look at AI and actually talk about it, I feel like we've had all of this stuff going on. Like anything that they release, anything that they tell us, we've already had it. It's just, okay, we feel like this is the bottom of the barrel now for all of you that have actually paid for all of this technology and for us to do all the research and for us and our houses and all of that. Now we feel like it's time for you guys to be able to use a maybe dumbed down version of this or version that doesn't work quite so well so we can create other things to make money off of. That's where I think a lot of the tech conversation really is at in terms of AI and stuff like that. But I think you're absolutely right. They're saying, look at this. This is what really like shining a light on what's been going on, especially under the veil of what just happened with Dr. Doom, what's happened with the exposure of those injections. I think it's further illustrating the point of, anytime you go around the root issue, whether it be this kind of injection with a pill, with whatever, like we were saying last time, symptom management, you got to do what you got to do. But when you're trying to fix something really from the outside in, so to speak, or you're not addressing the root cause, you're going to pay in another way. Doesn't matter what kind of tech it is, you know, you're essentially lying. You're not facing the truth, and so when you live in the truth, you're free. When you live in the lie, there are certain things you have to do to keep up that lie, to keep up that mask. So and that's on all levels, not only health, emotionally, all levels. So it's gonna be really interesting where that goes, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. And so much more AI automation's taking place. Again, a lot of it's good. And I think ultimately it's going to end up driving so much more good and forcing the good because we can see where it could go if we use it for the negative, liberating people from really like meaningless work or
Totally.
repetitive work that's not really fulfilling or serving a constructive purpose on the planet. That's going to be great and necessary. It's going to help with the concept of money. It already is doing that. Money is just a concept. There's way more than enough to go around. What you shared is a prime example of that. And we all know too, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like everyone can be taken care of at royal standards of living on this planet. And
Yeah.
anything contrary to that is actually a lie and a false belief and a false concept because there is way more than enough to go around. Way more. And
Yeah.
especially with the technology today, no one has to go hungry, thirsty, without a bed, without clothing, all of it. I think
Yeah.
we're going through all these things to come to that realization more as a collective
Yeah.
that, yeah, we don't want to live in a society where everything's just given out and handed out for free. We've seen what happens with that. But also at the same time, if you liberate people from
Basic
work
needs.
or
Yeah.
things that are just really not constructive, they know that it's not actually doing something beneficial for the world, then things change. And I don't think that people are ultimately intrinsically lazy. I think that we've got a system and a society that's manufactured that and built it in. It's easier to be complacent for sure. Some days, as we all know, it's not easy waking up and getting up, doing what you have to do for work or life or whatever it is. And so if those things change, which they are, then the concept of what our purpose is on this planet changes on an individual level and collectively.
Totally. It's literally like the slaves, paid slaves, but still slaves because we totally, like you're saying, live in a world where basic needs could be covered. They're really in a world where we have this kind of technology we have and we're at the place we are in society and civilization, there shouldn't be a homelessness issue. That is a sign of a sick society. It shouldn't be that way. So, yeah, with that being said, our health truly is our wealth. Like your body, your temple on the inside, you as a being. That is your car. That is what you're driving. That is what you wake up in every day. That is how you are here in this reality. It will perish one day, but while it's here, it allows you to experience this whole world. So let's talk about Ascent's products that help make deposits in this health bank account. Tell us what can really help people on this journey, especially now, getting more into the natural world, getting more into really looking at the root cause of their issues.
Yeah, thanks, Meredith. So I'll back up and begin with the name Ascent because that's where everything really does begin. We're all on our own individual missions, our own ascent, our own journey to the top of wherever we want to go. And Ascent was started with that in mind of helping people to become their best selves in all the different ways. And part of that is with nutrition and nutrients that help to build up the body, build strength in the body, build a stronger mind physically, emotionally, building stronger muscles, building stronger bones, just building up stronger immunity and health. And along with that, sharing information that helps people to reclaim their sovereignty on an individual level and helps them to think about things differently. I've always in my life challenged the norm of whatever it is, even if it's been in small ways and sometimes it's been in much larger ways. I've always been very inquisitive and have asked, why are things like this? Why are we being taught this? Why does this exist? And when you keep asking that, ultimately it just starts narrowing down more and more. And so that's how I've learned a lot of the things that I've learned over the years. So with Ascent Nutrition, asking questions like why? Why is the healthcare system set up this way? Why is nutrition, when you talk about it, at least in the past, again, that's changing right now and moving forward, which is great. Why is it that you're called a quack if you bring up nutraceuticals or nutrients that the body literally needs and the body recognizes? Whereas if you're talking about pharmaceuticals and things like that, then you're established science, and that's a great scientist, and all those sorts of things. It is insanity, and there's very little logic to it. Now, of course, I definitely know that some people benefit from some pharmaceuticals. Like they modulate the chemistry in the body, and sometimes that can be for good. Sometimes it's necessary and life saving. So I'm not against that. It's really, how can we be pro common sense and pro science, real science of, hey, look at the body. There's certain nutrients that the body needs. If you don't get that, then the body's going to be impacted in a certain way. If you do get that, the body's also going to be impacted in a certain way. It really is not hard, as you know, and really everyone listening. And I'm not trying to speak down to anyone or anything like that, but just if you really look at it at a very basic level, it is very simple stuff. And this is why the whole legacy media, the whole pharmaceutical, industrial, military complex, they've been very sophisticated in how they talk about these things to get people wrapped up in their mind and away from just logic and common sense. Of course, if you eat clean foods, clean meaning no pesticides, clean meaning grown and harvested from the earth, not synthetically in a lab, of course the body's going to benefit. And most people know that, but it's one of these things, it has to keep getting reiterated over and over again because the propaganda has been so thick and so strong. And we've given our power away to people who know better than us. Trust the doctor, trust the scientist. They have this degree. Yeah, they might, but what if most of that stuff has been based on lies or manipulated science? Then all that goes out the window.
Yeah. It's sad that I had to stop listening to my doctors to actually heal myself. Like, no shit, no shit, because you know what I do? Oh, endometriosis, or they could even diagnose at that time. Oh, here's a birth control. Oh, you need to have surgery. Oh, just have a baby. How about I was even talking to an OBGYN the other day. How about educating? Oh, so diet and lifestyle could change how my period is and make it less painful? So should I change my diet and lifestyle? No, just get on this birth control pill. It's like, dude, it's also the only way you can reverse put anything into remission is with diet and lifestyle. It'll never be from a pill. It's just I even saw, I think it was Casey or Callie Means, one of them, and they were saying diet and lifestyle is the only way you can reverse, diabetes, arthritis. They listed out a number of diseases. It's not a pharmaceutical that can reverse this. You can manage it, like how you're saying, and sometimes, like, when you're at death's door, you need that. You need that because there's no going any further without it. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And they set it up from the very beginning, starting with the birth certificate. And that whole system has been based again on lies, fraud, and an intentional covering up of what the truth is. And it's a whole different topic, but that's where things begin with the birth certificate and getting us into the slave system and keeping us there and keeping us ignorant. But there is a solution outside of that entirely. There's different views on that, but alternate
Yeah.
systems have been set up, and one specifically that actually is real. And the global elite 100% know all of that too. And all of this is publicly. Those at the very top, they're fully informed on exactly what the birth certificate is. They know exactly the means of how it is used to control the entire planet and set up the entire system. It all does go back to that.
Truly. Oh, absolutely, and that in itself could be an entire episode. And you listen, with this year ahead, it might be. It might be. We'll see what happens because, like you said, things are happening as we record this episode. Thank God. I'm like, about time. I would just like for you to imagine in this wacky world a billboard, gigantic billboard, could be anywhere with anything on it. Let's say you could get a message out to millions or even billions of people. What would that billboard say and why?
I think two words: love yourself. Because if you truly love yourself, then you know how to love others and you know how to treat others. If you have deep self respect and care, then you can do that to others too. And I'm again saying this message to myself. I am not perfect, got a lot of work to do myself. And I believe that really is the biggest thing. Like, we know it's not just a cliche thing. Love is the ultimate driving force of this entire universe. God is love. Life is love. And if we can really embody that even more, it ripples out. And that's what heals all, resolves all, unifies all. And it's the glue that ties everything together.
Amen. Absolutely. It all starts there. Loving yourself. And it's been coming up. I mean, how can it not come up in this conversation? But specifically in thinking about how we interact in the world with others. And I've come to realize people don't actually treat you how you treat them. They treat you how you treat yourself most of the time. And so does the universe. It's how you love yourself because all is one. So it's just so potent and such a beautiful, simple message. Absolutely awesome. And it's now time. On that note, we're going to love ourselves and we're going to biohack with art. Are you ready?
Yes, let's go.
Let's go. Okay, this is a wild one, but I think you're going to have fun with it. If you had to create our new healthcare system as an art piece with any art medium, how would you make it? How would it look? What would you choose?
I think what you'd call the buckyball or the decahedron that Buckminster Fuller made as a greenhouse slash home. The dodecahedron, they've found plants will grow way more abundantly in there. Cells, human cells, are healthier in a dodecahedron. It's the
Wow.
construction or the geometry. of the universe. I mean, there's of course different shapes, obviously, but that's like encompassing all of it. And people might have different math or science behind that. I'm not trying to debate that. Just in general, if you look up Buckminster Fuller, you'll know exactly who he is and what he was doing. But the dodecahedron as a greenhouse and home, I think that's part of a new healthcare system, an environment that cells live and thrive in, growing food that's clean, nutrient dense, abundant. Food is our medicine. That's honestly the best way that I would describe a new system utilizing those principles. I'd also look at societal designs that
Mm.
Jacques Fresco has made of the Venus Project. Fascinating concepts and principles behind that. Really cool stuff. I think that's a societal slash healthcare model. It's all really one at the end of the day. A healthy society is a healthy, quote unquote, healthcare system. And if we build society around that with these principles of utilizing nature to the highest regard without overconsumption or abusing nature, then we can live in harmony with it and the earth will take care of us. If we take care of the earth, earth takes care of us. We know that principle, but it's way more than just a concept. Like it's actually true.
So true. And I always say, Mother Earth knows everything. So I don't know why we go anywhere else. Like for answers, let me tell you, been around a lot longer than you. So yeah, you only have to look to nature for so many things in the way we treat our world. That's an absolutely beautiful image that you just painted. And so necessary because you're so right. People have forgotten the link between food, what they're putting in here, and the disease that happens. They like, and that's part of the programming, the marketing that's happened. Like, oh yeah, disease is just something that, just happens. You don't have any control over it. Doesn't matter what you put in your mouth. No, food is medicine. It also can be poison, you know? Yeah. So glad you brought that up. So we're gonna list all the Ascent resources we chatted about today and more in the show notes. But where can people, if they just want to connect with you, learn more, where can they find you? What's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah. Thanks for asking, Meredith. So I'm on all the socials: X, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, YouTube, a few of the others, Substack, but those first ones, the main ones.
Yeah. Hell yeah. We were talking about Substack the other day. I'm new on Substack. Come check me and Lance out. It's awesome. It's a way cooler. What did I say to you? I said, oh, if Patreon and MailChimp and like LinkedIn or something had a baby. It's Substack, but way better, more on the side of freedom, truth, free speech, critical thinking, you know, being in reality, all those
Yeah,
good
yeah,
things.
absolutely. Substack's done a great job, and I'm excited to see where they're gonna keep taking things because yeah, that's a perfect analogy, Meredith. It really is a combination of all of those, and
Yeah.
they're gonna definitely keep pushing the envelope.
Hell yeah. Well, it has been so real chatting with you today. This is What the Health Part 2 to infinity. We'll see what the rest of 2025 has in store. I'm so excited. And I just want to thank you for taking the time, sharing your knowledge, your wisdom today. I hope everyone is able to take away something from this absolutely tremendous conversation we've had here today with Lance so they can go out there, face their shit, therefore healing themselves. And remember, as always, the truth will set you free. We will see you all next time. Bye. If you liked this episode or you think this show would be useful for someone else, the best way you can show your support is to share it on your social media outlets with family and friends or subscribe with the link below to receive exclusive perks. And if you're feeling really generous, please leave a review on podchaser.com, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts. and pick up a signed copy of my book about how I healed myself from endometriosis on my Instagram at Meredith W. Ochoa. Thank you so much for listening and for having the bravery to face your shit and heal yourself.